What is up, everybody? JT Sports here, back to you guys with another episode of the JT Sports podcast. And I'm joined with a special guest. We got my guy, Juan Gotti Talkin Sports, here to talk some Washington Commanders football. What's going on, man?
What's going on, JT, man? I appreciate you for having me on. It was a while, but I've been on the channel before, on the show before, so I appreciate you for coming, bringing me back on, man. It means a lot, and yeah, I'm definitely down to talk about the Washington Commanders because it's always a lot to talk about that toxic franchise, and it's what I love to do. It's my favorite team, so I'm always down to talk about my love and my team. So I appreciate you for having me on.
Heck yeah, man. Washington started off 2-0, and I was like, okay, maybe I was sleeping on this team because I had y'all at like 7 wins. Then the offense has started to sputter out, but you guys rebounded 3 straight wins. You have a big test against Minnesota. This is the best team that you guys have faced within this 3-game win streak. And let's talk a little bit about the Commanders' upcoming matchup against the Minnesota Vikings. They're underdog. Minnesota is currently a 3.5-point favorite. So how can the Commanders upset the Vikings?
Yeah, I mean, honestly, man, the Washington Commanders, like the way I personally like, I'm not gonna say Minnesota isn't good because they're definitely good, but if you look at majority of their games, they definitely could have lost majority of their games, like especially the one last week versus the Cardinals. I mean, countless other games earlier in the season they definitely could have lost, but they're good teams always find a way to win. And what did they do? They found a way to win. So I'm not going to discredit anything from Kevin Stefanski, or not Kevin Stefanski, Kevin O'Connell, former Washington Commander, coach, and Kirk Cousins and company, another former Washington Commander. So I'm not going to take anything, credit away from them, but they definitely are beatable. Okay. And what do the Washington Commanders have to do to beat them? I personally think this is going to be it has to be a shootout. You know what I'm saying? If Washington wants to win, we're going to have to score points because you already know Minnesota is going to score points. I would be it would be, bad for me to come up here and say, yeah, we're going to have to try to stop. We're going to have to stop them from scoring points. They're going to score points, man. That offense is amazing. You know what I'm saying? Kirk Cousins is playing really solid right now. He got a lot of weapons, and not to mention they just traded for TJ Hockenson yesterday. So adding another weapon to that already good offense, featuring Justin Jefferson, one of the best receivers in football, accompanied by Adam Thielen, KJ Osborne, and Dalvin Cook and James Madison, with Irvin Smith going out on injury, adding TJ Hockenson is only going to make them much better. And we have to play him again for the second time this year. So it's definitely going to be a tough game, but I definitely think Washington's offense is going to have to show up. And it's not more so, if you watch Washington the past couple weeks, it's not more so the talent. The talent is there. Washington has the talent to be 6-1, 5-2, like a lot, or 5-1, like a lot of other teams, or 5-2, whatever you want to call it. But the reason why we are where we are is because of the coaching staff. Ron Rivera, Scott Turner, Jack Del Rio has been turning it around lately, and defense has been playing well. But it has to be the offensive coordinator and the offense. They have to show up, and we can't afford to stall out on drives. And we have to capitalize every time we get the ball, whether it's 3, whether it's 7. We got to score every time we get the ball. And I know that's not possible, but we got to take advantage of our offensive opportunities, because you already know the Minnesota Vikings are going to do the same.
Yeah, and the thing about Washington, you look at how Taylor Henickie performed last game. Definitely feel like last game's performance was better than the previous one he had. What concerns me is the fact that I wonder how this offense can stay in this game. Now, Minnesota doesn't have a world-class defense. However, their defense is better this year than it was last year because you can actually trust them to hang on to a lead for you. So for Washington, your offense has kind of struggled to put points up on the board. It's kind of been a struggle to get to 20. So offensively, where will the success come from against this Vikings defense?
I think the success will probably come from on the ground. On the ground with Antonio Gibson and Brian Robinson, which, can I please go on record and say, like Brian Robinson a lot, but Antonio Gibson is the running back one on this team. Depth chart wise, it's Brian Robinson. I like Antonio Gibson in his new role better than Antonio Gibson as the bell cow, but I'm still gonna say he's my RB1 personally because I feel like he's much better than Brian Robinson. But the new role that they have Antonio Gibson in, he is flourishing again right now. But I definitely think it's gonna come from the ground with Brian Robinson and Antonio Gibson sprinkling a little Jay McKissick because they do not want Taylor Henickie to be, have to be the vocal reason that we win this game. They don't want him passing the ball 38, 40 times a game. They want him keeping it about the 28 to 33 range and rely a lot on the run game, short, intermediate passes. We're gonna have to run the ball well efficiently against this Minnesota Vikings team. We got to obviously get our weapons involved, one being Terry McLaurin and also Curtis Samuel. I'm not sure if we get Jahan Dawson back this week or not. I really hope we can, but I'm not sure. We have to see. They go to practice today to see how they're going to be feeling. Chase Young is another guy that we possibly could get back. That I feel like that now is a long shot because they want to at least give him. They're going to start his clock today. From to actually have 21 days to activate into the active roster. They're gonna start his clock today. That doesn't necessarily mean he has to play this Sunday. So they may start his clock, get a practice week under him, and then he sits out this week and then he plays next week versus the Philadelphia Eagles on Monday Night Football. That may be a thing, but we can talk about that a little bit later. But Washington, they have to run the ball really well against Minnesota. That's going to set up so much other stuff for them, whether it's going to be the play action, the quick game, the screen game. Even though Scott Turner's screen game is one of the worst in the NFL, I really don't like his screen game. They may open up a lot for them because, one thing about Minnesota, and Court Dantzler has been playing way better, this year. But their secondary, it really doesn't scare me. Let me know if I'm tripping or not, but it really doesn't scare you. That may be like one of the few weaknesses on that team. I'm not sure if you can run the ball much on Minnesota or not, but I just know for sure that secondary it may be a little weak. You got Patrick Peterson, you got Corey Dantzler, you got a really old Harrison Smith, which not saying he can't play at this level, so he still definitely can, but a really older Harrison Smith. So I think that secondary may be a weak point for that team, but I still think Washington has to find a way to run the ball because we don't have that quarterback that we can just rely on to throw 40 to 30, like 35 to 40 times a game. So we got to find a way to run the ball so that can open up other things and get Taylor Henickie comfortable.
So Minnesota defensively, if they're really good when their pass rush is activated, and they also are really good when it comes to forcing takeaways. They're currently 5th in the NFL in takeaways per game, pretty much averaging 2 turnovers per matchup. But however, their run defense is top 10 in the league, but their pass unit is prone to giving up big plays, and their red zone defense isn't great. So I think for Washington, the biggest thing offensively has to be winning on first and second down, making sure that you're not getting negative yardage, because if you can get put in third and long situations against Minnesota secondary, then it allows their pass rushers to tee off, and that's really when you play to the strength of this defense. But if you can get into the red zone, you have a really good opportunity to get points there, because they only score they have the worst red zone defense in the NFL, but they are really good at getting opponents off the field in third down situations. And Washington doesn't have a great third down offense. And a strong reason for that is because during, the last couple of weeks, you guys have been at best when you can get in third and short. You get in third and medium, it kind of becomes a little bit of a hassle if you can't find Terry McLaurin. But so let's move on to this. Dan Snyder is still the owner of this team. And, I've been seeing a lot of statements, and, he's been pumping that chest out. He's pretty much has said, hey, man, y'all can do whatever y'all want to do, but I know where the dead bodies are laid. And it's funny because he ends up and he gets a private investigator. And it's like, we all know he's not innocent. We get what I'm saying. We know the kind of person, how shady he is. So the fact that he would just go behind everybody's back, hire a private investigator, and it seems like he's kind of just holding the NFL for ransom. Like, what information does Dan Snyder hold on these owners that's just so detrimental that he has to remain the owner?
I mean, honestly, like obviously, I don't know the exact, information about that, but I mean, I will say this. I don't think he really has much. I think he's just using this as like a way to put them against a wall because I mean, I'm not gonna say there's not an owner. All the owners have dirt. I mean, all the dudes. It's a bunch of rich Caucasian guys. They all have a bunch of dirt. You know what I'm saying? But none to the near level of Dan Snyder. I'm pretty sure. Majority of the stuff that he may have dirt on, we already know about. Now he said he has dirt on Roger Goodell too, though. So that's something that we possibly don't know about. That could also keep Roger Goodell from, obviously forcing him to sell, or all the other owners forcing him, coming together saying we need to get these 28 votes so he can be forced to sell. Now Jim Irsay, Colts owner, did come out and say it's starting to get to that time where we have to find a way to get these 28 votes. Now again, Dan Snyder, he's not going down without a fight, okay? He's going to try to stand his ground, even though he is not innocent. And I don't know what's taking the NFL so long to finally force him out. But I'm just a fan, and I'm just a person that commentates, and talks about the NFL and the Washington Commanders. So I don't know exactly what kind of dirt he has on these other owners and or Roger Goodell, but my personal opinion, I don't think he has much, or if anything. I just personally think he's saying that so he can, try to have them have, a chance, or have, something that to come back at him and try to say, oh, snap, what does Dan Snyder have? What did I do? What did I do that he could possibly know about? I really don't know if it's much. I just feel like it may be something that he's just saying just to try to have a comeback at this current moment.
Like, what has made this process so difficult of removing him? Is it like what is he doing that isn't allowing them to easily remove him?
I mean, what I personally think it is that's made this process so difficult from removing Dan Snyder is that, man, he's a billionaire. Okay, so he can do whatever he wants. He can hire his own private investigators. He can always deny the allegations until they physically prove that Dan Snyder has done these things, and they have a lot of evidence. He can continue to be the owner of this team. I mean, the guy just bought 100% of the team. Okay, so this just tell you where he stands, and he doesn't feel any kind of like, it doesn't feel his job or his ownership is not in jeopardy at all for him. I know he feels safe because he has people on his team, although he knows he's wrong, and for what he did could come back to haunt him eventually. He's a billionaire, bro. Like, when you have that much money, you can do whatever you want. You can hire whoever you want. Whether you think you were wrong, you can hire the best private investigators. You can hire whoever. Okay, so what's taking them so long is just the fact that I'm not going to say they can't find dirt on them, because it's obviously out there, but I'm assuming it's yet to really be proven, or maybe the 28 owners are yet to come together. And actually, that's probably what it is, really, though. The 28 owners are yet to come together to start voting them out because of the quote-unquote dirt that he has. And it's something that's not going to happen overnight, okay? The 28 votes are probably going to happen maybe 3 years from now. You know what I'm saying? It's not nothing that can just happen overnight. I wish it could, because he's a horrible owner. He's the worst owner in all of sports. You know what I'm saying? But I definitely don't think it's something that's going to happen overnight. But I don't know. Maybe the reason why it's taking so long is because of the 28 owners not coming together to get those votes, because of the dirt he has on. And also, the guy is a billionaire, man. He can hire whoever he wants. He can hire the best officials, private investigators, to make sure he is kept clean.
So, talking about staying clean, Carson Wentz, he had turnover issues his last year in Philly, turnover issues, which is why he got shipped out of Indianapolis, plus the character concerns. He comes to Washington, first couple of games, looks sharp. After that, falls apart, gets injured. Taylor Henickie has came in over the last couple of weeks, and I don't really know, which is why I want to ask you, will Carson Wentz start over Taylor Henickie when he gets healthy?
I want to say this. Taylor Henickie, if he goes on these 4 games, when on this 4 game while he's on IR. So if during these 4 games, Taylor Henickie has this team playing well, okay, he's 4-0, 3-1. There's no way you can pull him, okay. There's no way you can pull him. I mean, you can just clearly see, well, unlike Carson Wentz, unlike anybody in the past that Taylor Heinicke's been on this roster with, anytime Heineke is in the game, you got a different kind of energy, you know, in the stadium. You got a different kind of energy that the team plays around. They love this guy, man. They play so hard for Taylor Heinicke. You know what I'm saying? It's just something about Taylor Heinicke that just gets the guys juiced up, you know what I'm saying, and wants to play that extra step for him and play extra hard for him, man. So if he is playing well, which he's 2-0 right now, okay, if these next 2 weeks, if he finds a way to beat Minnesota this week, and then he finds a way to beat Philly in Philly, or he comes close and it's a good game and he's 3-1 in this last 4, you cannot start Carson Wentz. But I definitely think they're going to, just for the simple fact that they want to be proven right. They just took on this guy's massive contract, okay? They want to be proven right that they went to go get the right guy in Carson Wentz. Me personally, though, I don't think Carson Wentz fits this offense. I don't think our offensive coordinator does a good job of changing his scheme around the quarterback's strengths. Okay, Carson Wentz's strength, he doesn't possess the same athleticism as he once did. Okay, so his strength is getting him outside of the pocket, getting him on the run, throwing on the run. But instead, they want to have him taking play action, taking 7-step drops inside the pocket where he can escape, and then that causes Carson Wentz to get hit, get sacked, and ultimately break his ring finger like he did, or fracture his ring finger like he did. Okay, Taylor Heinicke, they pretty much got him doing the same thing, not nothing really different, but the difference is Heinicke's able to escape the pressure. He's able to extend plays with his legs. He's able to, actually move around the pocket to avoid these big guys, So Taylor Heinicke, I think he's the better option for this offense and for this team, just because the overall performance when he plays he has this grasp on the players, on the fan base. I'm included because, again, I'm not sure if he's the franchise guy. I don't think he is, but it's so fun watching him play. And there's no doubt about it right now. Between Carson Wentz, Sam Howell, Taylor Heinicke, he's the best fit for this team this year. The guy, he's just a fun guy to watch, and he's just a guy that plays with a lot of moxie. I mean, he throws a pick to Shaquille Leonard last week. Okay, comes back and then drives you down for a game-winning touchdown, walk-off touchdown. So the guy has the balls, man. I mean, I know a lot of quarterbacks. One we're playing this weekend, no diss to Kirk Cousins, but I know a lot of guys that plays well through 3 quarters, but then in moments like that, they're not going to come back from that. We experienced that multiple times with Kirk Cousins, okay? So Taylor Heinicke is the total opposite, okay? He may not play the best for the first 3 quarters, first 2.5 quarters, right? But when it's on the line, he's going to give you a chance to win, okay? He is. He's not going to do anything stupid. He's going to give you a chance to win, and that's what I think these players love so much about Taylor Heinicke. That's what I love so much about him as a fan, and I definitely think when Carson Wentz comes back, if he's 4-0, 3-1, you can't start Carson Wentz. But again, I think Ron Rivera and the staff may start Carson Wentz just for the simple fact that they want to be proven right about going out to get this guy in the offseason.
So let's say Carson Wentz doesn't start and they stick with Heinicke. Mm-hmm. What's the contract situation? He has a potential out. So is there like a way you can end his contract at the end of this season, not suffer a lot, or is that next year?
I know that's this year. This is a 1-year rental. If they want to cut him this year and let go of that contract, they can after the season. Which if he doesn't play another snap for Washington, that's pretty much self-answered. Okay, if he doesn't go back in there, that shows you that he most likely won't be back next year. Okay, so that's pretty much self-answered in my opinion. It depends. I really hope Taylor Heinicke could just take over this team and he takes us on a massive win streak. That would be amazing, man. It really would be, I should say, because we need some type of excitement in this area, man. We need Washington winning football again. We need some type of winning. We need some type of postseason success or something, or at least a run at it, man. I've been so thirsty for it, man. In my lifetime, I've never seen a playoff win. I only seen 2 playoff appearances in my lifetime, 2012 and 2015, man. We need something. So I definitely think if Wentz doesn't play another snap this year and Taylor Heinicke is having this team grooving, winning games, that's pretty much self-answered. He will be gone because we have a out. This is basically a 1-year rental. So That's where the Carson Wentz Carson track stands right now.
Make sure that you guys go ahead and check out my guy Juan Gotti Talkin Sports. He talks Washington Commanders football over there every single day. This is our guy when it comes to Washington Commanders football. I love having him on. You just talked about the playoffs. And it's funny because the Philadelphia Eagles right now, they're the only unbeaten team in the league. And, you know, real quickly, I want to get your closing thoughts because you being a Commanders fan, let's be honest, you've been watching Philadelphia this year.
Yeah.
They're looking like that team. Yeah. However, right now, midway point, are the Eagles a lock for the 1 seed? Are they unquestionably going to be the best team with the best record in the NFC when it's all said and done?
Nah, I want to say this. I'm going to be as unbiased as possible, okay? Philadelphia at the beginning of the year, I'm like, okay, 1-0, 2-0, 3-0, 4-0. I'm like, okay, at some point they got to lose, right? At some point they got to lose, right? Week 5 comes. At some point they got to lose, right? Week 6 comes. At some point they got to lose, right? And week 7 comes this past week. At some point they got to lose, right? No, they just keep winning, and they're winning in dominant fashion. I mean, outside of that Jaguars game, and I think that may be the only one that they really didn't win in a dominant fashion. Outside of that game, they've been looking really well, man. I mean, Jalen Hurts has really took that next development in his game, and that's what I wanted to see from him. A lot of people wanted to already say Jalen Hurts can't pass the ball. What I said, and you can go back on my channel, anybody out there that is listening, as a Washington Commanders fan, I said, in my opinion, my personal perspective of Jalen Hurts, it's too early to decide whether he can't pass the ball. But a lot of people want to come to that conclusion that he already couldn't do that. But I said it's too early. You got to wait to see what he do this year. What has he done this year? The guy's been amazing. You know what I'm saying? I hate it because he plays for the Eagles. If Jalen Hurts played for any other team, man, I'll be rooting for this guy like heck. But the reason why I want to see him fail badly is because he plays for the Eagles. Okay. But I'm just sitting there like at some point they got to lose, right? No, they got the Texans this Thursday. So they're going to win. They're going to be 8-0, okay? So are they going to be locked for the number 1 seed? At this point, if they win Thursday, yes, you have to. Because, I mean, what other team is really a threat to the 1 seed? They already beat Minnesota, so they got that. That season tie or season advantage over them. The NFC South is a shamble. I mean, the Falcons are the Falcons number 1 in that division right now? Like, the South is crazy right now, So the Falcons aren't going to be the 1 seed. And then you go to the West. I mean, the Rams, a team that we thought was going to be, a top seed, they're struggling right now. The 49ers, they're 4-4 right now. The Cardinals, they're struggling again too. And the Seahawks, just like the Falcons, who would have thought this team would have been at the top of the NFC West right now?
Geno Smith, dog. They got Geno Smith at QB.
Geno Smith is your quarterback, and you're at the top of the NFC West. That goes to show you that this NFL, and a lot of people want to say quickly, this NFL season has been whack. In my opinion, it's been one of the best ones because I prefer a season where it's all of this, where anybody could win, okay? Instead of
bro, I'm tired of seeing Tom Brady in the damn Super Bowl every damn year, bro. This man's been in the damn Super Bowl every year for my childhood. It's the same thing as LeBron. We saw LeBron in the finals since 5th grade, bro. I want some fresh faces.
That's what I'm saying. I prefer a season like this every year than just having the same 4 teams: Chiefs, Bills, Packers, and Bucks. I'm tired of seeing that. I want to see something different, and that's what we're going to get this year. Okay, obviously from the NFC, from the AFC, it definitely is probably going to be between the Chiefs and Bills again. But NFC wise, we're going to get somebody new. Okay, and I love to see that. So. Yes, the Eagles are locked probably for the number 1 seed if they win this weekend, because again, who is really going to test them? Now, again, if they lose, if they're going to massive losing streak, that would be great, right? But I don't see that happening with the schedule they have and with the way they've been playing ball. So I think if they win this Thursday, you have to say that they're locked for the 1 seed.
You see, I'm not hesitant on them because before the season I had them winning 10 games, but if Jalen Hurts took that next step in development, I felt they could go 14-3. And I think it's a high chance they go 14-3. Like, they pretty much have gotten through the tougher part of their schedule. Now pretty much they only play one team at the moment that has a record of above 500. Well, two of them to be exact, until that Dallas game, and they have to play the Giants twice. So in terms of out of division games that are tough, outside of that Titans game, you know, they play the Colts. That's winnable. So I definitely look at Philadelphia, and I don't want to say I'm a little bit conflicted. I don't know if I want to say they're the best team or the second best team behind the Bills. Even though the Bills do have that one loss to the Dolphins, you know, you go back and you look at that game, Buffalo was really freaking close to winning that game, but, you know, they kind of came out a little bit flat. But outside of that loss, you know, Buffalo has looked really dominant themselves. But I think the Eagles, I don't want to call them a lock just because I really think a lot of people aren't giving Minnesota enough attention. You know, their defense isn't as good as Philadelphia's, but their offense is probably going to be the only offense that can legitimately put points on Philadelphia's defense. Now, Dallas is interesting because they gave Philadelphia a pretty competitive game with Cooper Rush. You got Dak Prescott back. Michael Gallup is healthy. The team is now starting to get a little bit healthy somewhat. So I want to see what Dallas can do, but really, I think Minnesota is really going to be fun. You got TJ Hawkinson, you go Bunch, KJ Osborne. I think they're going to be fun. But, you know, like, I look at Washington, and, you know, like, if you can get some solid quarterback play, you get what I'm saying, the run game is going to be there, because I don't really care about how you guys win games. With y'all, I don't care about style points, because Ron Rivera has never been a style points coach. He's always just been a win the freaking game somehow. So I think Washington may be able to pull off an upset in one of these matchups. I think Philadelphia probably gets 2-3 losses. I still think Minnesota could end up winning it. I really like them. But I appreciate you for coming on, man. One last time, let the people know where they can find you at and what you have planned for the channel.
Yeah, man, I definitely appreciate you for having me on. Again, it's your boy Juan Gotti. Juan Gotti Talkin Sports is where you can find me on YouTube. We're on the road to 5,000 subscribers. Juan Gotti Talkin Sports on Twitter and Instagram. Also, go ahead, give me a follow over there. I have a new show that I'll be starting up on the channel the next Monday. It's called TOTM, Top of the Morning. It's going to be a morning sports show that I will be starting up next Monday, November 7th, live at 9 a.m. So I want to be that morning show that you listen to on your way to work or exercising in the morning, whatever morning activities you have to do. I want to be that radio show or morning show that you listen to for your sports. Obviously, we're going to talk Washington Commanders, but we're going to talk NFL and then any other sports that is also going to be pertinent at that time. You got the MLB World Series on. You got the NBA kicking up. So that is going to be starting up this Monday. And I hope to see a lot of you guys check that out. I want to see you. I hope to see some of you guys in there. YouTube, man, we're taking over, bro. You know what I'm saying? The ESPN and all of that stuff, it's cool. But YouTube is where you can find the real authentic sports talk. And whether it's me or JT Sports, we're going to bring you guys the best and authentic sports talk. So I appreciate you having me on again, and I hope to see you guys over at my channel, and especially checking out TOTM that will be starting next Monday, November 7th. So thank you so much for having me on again.
You guys make sure to check out my guy, Juan Gotti Talkin Sports, talking Washington Commanders every day. Has a new morning show coming out, top of the morning. Make sure that you guys go ahead, check that out. Also, make sure that you guys check out the JT Sports podcast. We got 49 5-star reviews. We're trying to get to at least 50 by the end of this week. We've been at 49 5-star reviews for like a year and a half. So let's get that number up to 50. Once again, appreciate you for coming on, Juan Gotti Talkin Sports, and I will see you guys shortly with another episode of the JT Sports Podcast.
Peace.